All right, so today is day 5 of the 5-day Write With Me. You'll no longer have to suffer the week listening to me. And today we're going to focus on editing. So we're not going to really spend a lot of time in SudoWrite. We'll be elsewhere. There is nothing new in the document, so if you've grabbed it already, you don't need to worry about grabbing it again, but that's for anybody who needs it. So as I'm generating prose in SudoWrite, when I generate a chapter, I copy it into Scrivener. I do that for a couple of reasons. One, I always encourage y'all to have a backup somewhere, so I don't care where you save it, Scrivener, Google Docs, Microsoft Word, somewhere else entirely. SudoWrite is very, very good at recovering things, and they very rarely even lose anything in the first place. But glitches happen, right? We're working with technology on the internet. Things do happen. For example, with the switch from Story Engine to Story Bible, people lost their beats. So for about a week, they had to get everybody's beats recovered to them. No issue, just a little time consuming for them to have to deal with all that. But if you have your stuff saved elsewhere and something happens, you're not stalled. You can go work on it. I've seen people comment, oh, my book's due soon and I can't find my stuff. Whether it's, a user error or something happening. But again, if you have your work saved elsewhere, it's okay. I understand there's still that issue, but I want to generate in SudoWrite. Well, at least you can still work on something else. So it never hurts to have that backup. So yeah, as I generate prose, I just keep it simple. I don't do import, export, none of that. I just simple copy, paste into Scrivener. And I will pull up my Scrivener for y'all. So I actually have, and if anybody uses Scrivener and wants a template, I do have a couple of templates to use. I would have to actually find it. Oh, here it is. So I do have templates y'all can copy if y'all like mine. But you'll see in Scrivener, I have this deleted scenes project. And if I go here into my actual story project, this is the Jack the Ripper project. You will see here, I have a deleted scenes section. So as I'm going through doing all my edits and kit bashing and stuff, if I don't like something, instead of just permanently deleting those words, I toss it into this deleted scenes folder right here. After I'm done with all my edits, I'm done with this project pretty much. I take all of those deleted scenes that wind up here, copy them into that deleted scenes project. So that ends up looking like this. So all of these that go on forever, just a bunch of stuff here in the deleted scenes. So I'm not losing those words. I can always go back through here, turn around, see if there's anything useful for another project I'm working on. I just wanted to point that out as y'all see me delete things. All right, so yes, I use the word kit bashing. What do I mean by kit bashing? So in this, I have a few chapter 4s right here. 4 versions of chapter 4, right? Kit bashing is where you're taking those different versions and essentially kit bashing them together. And this is why I like to use Scrivener. Now, it doesn't matter if I'm using... Sorry?
Sorry, cherry picking.
There you go. So I like to use Scrivener because I can do this side by side. So now I can jump over to this other folder, this other chapter, or version of that chapter, sorry. And let me get one because I like them to be similar. So, maybe this was done with best prose and this one was done with balanced or something, or they could both be best prose, but I changed a bunch of things. So I got variations here. So kit bashing is just essentially, oh, I like this, and I'm going to kit bash them together in another document. So generate prose and pseudowrite. I copy that over into Scrivener. I'm not usually putting it in my chapters right away, but that's a whole nother class we can go to. Where's it down here? I usually will put it in one of my template things and then sort the chapters later as I'm going through, but that's neither here nor there. Just unnecessary commentary on my process.
That's actually so cool because before AI writing, if you had one version of something you were doing well, now you get to pick between 3, 4, 5 and pick the best.
Exactly, yeah. So when I'm ready to edit, and I don't edit while I go, I wait until I think I'm pretty much done. And then I start edits, and I do it in rounds. So my first round of edits, and honestly, it depends on how I feel, if I highlight or whatever. But my first round, I won't have this side by side. I'm just going to go through each document, each of these, and I'm going to do one of two ways. Again, it depends on how I feel. Both serve the same purpose. It's just variations. I might say, I hate this. I'm going to cut it out. Go ahead and stick it in that deleted scenes right now. Another thing I like to do is if I don't want to mess with going back and forth into another document at the moment, I'm just going to highlight it. Okay. Like that one, or needs work. And then I'm just going to highlight a bunch of random stuff, y'all. So I might say, yeah, this is okay. Needs some work there. And the colors just kind of stand out. I typically use blue, red, and yellow. Yellow's for stuff that is pretty good. Like it's almost ready. Pink is usually stuff that is awful, but for some reason I'm not wanting to actually delete it at the moment. You know, maybe it has a good plot point, maybe a line of dialogue. There's something there worth saving for me. And then blue is kind of something that, well, kind of in between. Needs some work generally. I always think of it blue as the writing makes me blue. So I need to really revamp that. But that is my first round of edits. I will just continue to go through, highlight all kinds of stuff. And then when I'm done highlighting everything, whatever is not highlighted, sorry, I'm trying to get rid of it. Whatever is not highlighted, I know that stuff to just delete. So I'll go through, grab that real quick, stick it in my deleted scenes place right here, and do that for each chapter. So essentially, once I'm done, I'm going to have bits and pieces, right? You know, there'll be sections where things are missing. And that's when I do my next round of edits. Again, I'm going through my whole book, doing that first round. And then I'm going to come in here and start on the next round. So my next round is generally trying to combine things. Again, I'm still working in the same chapters. So I start doing the kit bashing. Let's just pretend this was all good. I went ahead and deleted everything. So I might start saying, oh, I want my opening like this. So I'll copy it, you know, whichever document I pick and choose to copy into. So one of these that are side by side will end up with very few items left, essentially. This is the part where I decide, okay, yeah, you know what, this just isn't going to work for this scene, so you're done. So it's kind of like a second round of little things that will end up in the deleted scenes folder. But otherwise, I'm trying to pick, how do I want this scene to open? What are the lines of dialogue I like? And I try to just copy and paste them in order. So if I say I like this, I'm going to come over here, paste that in, and just keep going, keep pulling stuff. Okay, I like this. Where can it fit in over here? Is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Let me just get this back. I'm like in this Jack the Ripper story, so I don't want to mess it up too bad. So that's the first and the second rounds. And obviously, I'm just telling y'all my preference. Find what works for you. My third round will be when I have all of those kit bash pieces right here. So they're all in one document now. Then I will start going through, seeing what needs to be rewritten, seeing where little holes are. You know, maybe there's a transition gap or something else. If there's a transition gap, the scene's just not reading right, or I need to expand on things, that's when I take it back into Sudowrite, start using those laser tools. Maybe I want more description here to get the scene set for, the Whitechapel streets and all that. So first round, going through, highlighting things I like, kind of like, getting rid of what I absolutely do not like, what just clearly flat out, and there's no saving it. That's my first round. Second round is combining the different versions of the chapter. Third round is starting to tweak all of that, smooth things out, start adding in my own wording. Did I lose anybody on that?
I followed.
That's because you're so smart.
Oh, I love when you compliment me.
Cole, there was a question in chat about using other tools like Campfire. From Alexander.
Okay, I do not use Campfire. I know a lot of people that love it though. If a tool works for you, I say use it. I have a lot of tools. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's actually a playlist. Jen helped me with my YouTube stuff. So I think it's called Author Tools. The playlist, I think it's called Author Tools that I like, or some Author Tools, I think. And I do a little demonstration of a bunch of the tools I like. Let's see. Do you copy and paste right away or when you have a few to save? I actually copy and paste right away. Just because I don't want to go back and remember, oh, where did I leave off? Which ones didn't I copy? Once I generate that chapter in Sudowrite, I have Scrivener also open and I just copy it right over. And again, I'm not necessarily worried about sorting them in these chapters that you see right here. That's typically later. I just get them all copied under this Sudowrite file section. And then later on, I get with the sorting. So let me just catch up in chat and make sure I haven't lost anybody on what I was going before writing with AI. Okay. Do you use other tools like Campfire, for example, together? Okay. So yeah, so I don't use Campfire. I use, oh, this is going way off topic, but I will show y'all some that I use. And let me find that video or that playlist rather. Yeah, yeah, I'm not a perv, y'all. I hate that this always shows up. Of course, one of my workouts, things that saved is always on the butt picture. This is my author tools thing. So if y'all want to get a brief idea, this one covered several that I use. Actually, I think I covered everything I use in this one. This one is a new one that I learned about. This is actually what I was recommending to Sudowrite. I would like to see Canvas turned into something like Milanote. Jen uses it. I'm sure others probably do too. It's a very beautiful little tool. And then of course, editing with Scrivener. So this is also another little place you can kind of get a recap of what I've gone over today. Yeah. Let me scroll back into chat here. How do I balance it with Scrivener Notion? So Notion, y'all seen my Notion stuff before. Notion is typically where I store my ideas and everything. Did I share this with y'all? I do have a version to share with y'all for anybody that wants it. Here we go. And a reminder, I have that Notion class coming up on the 24th, so we might play with things like this. And this is a new one that I made. All right, so Notion is what I use obviously for my class documents, but also where I start storing everything. So as I'm brainstorming with chat and coming up with ideas, I'm not ready to work on these, but I like them, so I just save them. And it goes on quite a ways. And then when I'm actually ready to start something, I have this template here that I just duplicate. And then I can go in and start planning everything. So I have, as I'm working with chat, okay, this is definitely what I want. I'll start putting some information in here. And then I also have like each book stuff that I can go into. an example of that. I have this one fleshed out pretty well. It's like I'll just be able to work on my character stuff, their arcs throughout each book or the series, however I need to do it. So that's typically what I'm using Notion for as my pre-Sudowrite storage place. All these ideas, things that I can quickly refer to and copy as needed into Sudowrite. Other tools I like to use, Plotter. You'll see that in the video. Plotter I like to use for my series especially. And again, I just keep it very brief just to kind of make sure everything's playing out in order. There's no plot holes, no inconsistencies, anything like that. Scrivener, of course, like I've said, everything gets copied into Scrivener and edit. So before we leave Scrivener, any questions on that? Try to think. I left off at the third round. So third round is kit bashing, bringing it back into Sudowrite if I need for tweaking, improvements, stuff like that. The next round is a complete read through. So I'm just focusing on reading the story entirely and making notes of what needs to change. Where am I lacking? Did I mess up on anything? That's the fourth round. And it sounds like a lot with 4 rounds, but they're very quick because I'm focusing on one step in each round that I go. So after I've done all of my editing, I've brought it back into Sudowrite. I think it's good now, tweaked it there, copied it back into Scrivener. I think everything's good. My final stop is AutoCrit. Keep in mind, y'all, all of these tools, I am not saying, hey, y'all should go get this tool. I understand people can't afford every tool under the sun, and there are a lot out there. I just happen to like AutoCrit, and I bought this a few years ago with the lifetime thing, so I honestly can't even tell you what it costs right now. Which reminds me, I wanted to point this out. If at any time you're interested in a product, a program for writing, go to the NaNoWriMo site. Oh, that's not the right one. And go to Writers Resources and scroll down to offers and you'll get some discounts. There's not many on here right now, but during NaNoWriMo, there are a lot. So you can see there's a little Scrivener one right here. Dabble, all of these. I have seen Plotter, AutoCrit, Pro Writing Aid, Grammarly, Campfire, as a matter of fact. There's always a ton of these offers during NaNoWriMo. Black Friday is also another good time where many of them run sales. Vellum, Plotter, and I think AutoCrit all ran a really good Black Friday sale this past year. So if you're willing to wait for NaNoWriMo or Black Friday, check those out to save you some money. All right. So AutoCrit is the one that I like. I liked it just because I'm a visual person and it nailed everything. I tried Grammarly, I tried Pro Writing Aid. They can all pretty much do the same thing. AutoCrit does have some, I don't want to necessarily say better features, but they do offer some more things than I'm aware of for Pro Writing Aid or Grammarly. Somebody can please correct me if I'm wrong. But I know people that don't like AutoCrit, they prefer Pro Writing Aid. I believe they all offer a free trial. So play around with them. What I would do is actually take a chapter from Sudowrite, work with that chapter, that same chapter in each program, and see what it tells you and kind of compare. Did one just confuse you? Was it too hard to mess with? Did one offer you some better feedback for improvement? See which ones you like. So AutoCrit, I am going to go into this one. Well, let me show you. So these are some things, as far as I know, Pro Writing Aid, Grammarly don't offer things like this. Pro Writing Aid, they have accountability things. They have sessions. I know they just did an editing session, as a matter of fact. That one was actually free. A lot of their stuff is paid for, but they also do a lot of free classes, and they're pretty darn good. I know I'm subscribed to, I paid for their horror writing class. So if there's a genre you know you really want to master, I would recommend checking them out. I'm going to click into this and show you what AutoCrit can do. So I do not know that about Pro Writing Aid. Maybe somebody else knows if you can upload a full manuscript to Pro Writing Aid. All right, so this is my manuscript for the book that I actually learned how to use Sudowrite in. So I uploaded that for you. And what I can do, I'm going to go to this analysis tab, and I'm going to click the summary report. And somebody said, yes, you can upload a full manuscript to Pro Writing Aid. Thank you very much. All right, so this is why I like AutoCrit. It's just a very simplistic feel to me. It's right there in my face. I love the look of it. Yes, I know that's just horrible criteria to go on. That's me, sorry. So my first step is looking at these. I'm always aiming for at least 90% right here. And you see, I'm missing the mark, especially on this one. So I can actually click into these, scroll down, look at all of these other ones, all these things that I want to do. So it was dialogue and what was the really bad one? Repetition. Yeah, repetition's horrible for me. Scrolling down so y'all can see everything. And this is another one that I always have to look for. I always need to check my tense. So lots of things you can look at here. Let me go down to my repeated words. So I'm just going to run the report. And then it shows me all of those words. So if I want to look at one, how many times did I say pack? Well, that's the word pack is quite a bit right there all at once, right? So I might want to mess with that. So I can just go through here. You see a name. Well, that needs to be taken off the list. There's actually a setting. I just never messed with it, but I can actually put it on the words to exclude. So it isn't pulling in names and those aren't counting against me on the repeats. So that's my first stop inside AutoCrit, getting that analysis, tweaking things. Some other things I don't think Pro Writing Aid or Grammarly can do that AutoCrit does is this fiction analyzer thing. So I have done mine already, analyzed all the chapters. Right here. And it just gives me those summaries. So the synopsis of it, the conflict that's happening in that chapter, the characters, some world building things, all of that. This is relatively new. So 6 months old maybe now. And then they also have some other things that you can look at. So if I start this analysis, let's see if it takes too long. Overall analysis. And we should have time in this class too for anybody else that wants to chime in with some of their editing tips. I'm only going to give it about a minute. All right, so story revolves around Jackson. Yep. Pass cross under dire circumstances. Examples where the story excels. Okay. Conflict. Gives you some information there. Plot thread tracking. Unresolved threads right there. Tells me theme analysis and how well it conforms to the genre conventions. Another new one is the character analysis. So I never actually did this one. It was still just being talked about. I hadn't played with it yet. This is something I actually want to start incorporating inside Sudowrite right away. I would like to see if it's possible once I have my characters plotted in Sudowrite. I would need that export feature, but I could export it over here into AutoCrit and run this analysis. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know how well that's going to work. Since at that time, I won't have my whole manuscript. All I could really give it would be like my outline, synopsis, things like that. Okay, it talks about his flaws for greater dramatic conflict and character development, enhancing elements such as introspection on Jackson's part could provide more depth. Additionally, so it tells you some things right there to tweak on. Okay, looks like he's at the beginning stages of his transformational character arc. Okay, so clearly I stopped analyzing after chapter 5 then, because everything's stopping at around chapter 5. Inconsistencies, no explicit inconsistencies. However, implicit inconsistency. Okay, and character archetypes. So not bad. Tabby, what do you think of this little character analysis thing?
Actually, it's really fun. I think it's actually really good. I mean, I think like for me, going in depth, like obviously you do so much research before. So I know that your characters are usually already well developed before you even do this. But yeah, I do like that feature in the end to like kind of just give you an idea what I guess what another program thinks of it.
Okay, so I have readability if I want to do that. This is great for you middle grade writers. Inspiration. So this came out about a year ago. Their design studio stuff. It's not so much helping you write, like telling you, oh, here's the next chapter or anything like that. It'll typically just give you ideas for how you can change things up. So see, outlandish, most likely, unexpected twist, things like that. Or I can change the mood. What emotion would you like to add? Sad, despair, just to kind of help with right there. And then we have publishing. Yes, I want to close. Thank you. All right, so publishing, I've actually never noticed this one before. I wonder if it's new or I just haven't paid attention. So let's check this out. Style theme. Oh, so it looks like maybe they're oh, okay. So AutoCrit's getting into some formatting stuff here for y'all. I'm not gonna mess with that. I use Vellum. I love Vellum. But let's see what this does. Anything? No. Sorry, I was hoping I could click a button, but no. See how AI is following me? I just want to be able to click a button, see what it does. All right, so it looks like this is just going to help with information for your format, getting everything formatted and ready for that style theme and getting it all published and looking pretty. Okay. And I'm just scrolling through here so y'all can kind of see all the little, these are the narrow niche down things from that summary report, if I just want to focus on one of those. So after it's gone through AutoCrit, I look at those changes. I'm pretty much done and it's ready to go to my betas. Let me open up chat again. Yeah, so Bruce likes Pro Writing Aid. Again, it's personal preference, y'all. I loathe the way Pro Writing Aid looks. Like it's the whole website just makes me feel like I'm back in high school with the days of the internet just starting out. Again, I'm a visual person, so I need that look. I know tons of people love Pro Writing Aid. Others prefer Grammarly. Quillbot isn't bad either. But looking at chat. Part of editing I am most struggling with is the way the AI wants to ramp up the tension. Yeah, so what I would do there is maybe check, see, check your genre and style box, of course. And also, that's what I'm finding is so good about getting rid of the generic, oh, this is a thriller, this is a horror, this is romance. I'm getting so many less phrases of the AI cliches and all that, just getting rid of that genre stuff. So that's one thing to try.
Can I throw in my 2 cents on that one too, Nicole?
I guess.
You can kick me off any old time.
No, go ahead.
On that one, I hate to say this, but even though you're just noticing it now does not mean that people did not write it before. You have to remember that AI is picking words it thinks goes together, and it's picking ones that it picks up on. It happens, like Nicole said, in a thriller. And so it's, of course, jaws clenching happen a lot in thriller novels. Therefore, the AI thinks that it's acceptable. Read books prior to AI, and I guarantee you will start noticing those things. AI has just brought it out further. It's unfortunately it's cliched, and therefore the AI picks up on those cliches because it is picking words it believes goes together to create a thriller, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And Blade stole the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say that's a very good point, Tabby. So how many times have you heard, oh, AI writing is horrible? We hear that all the time, right? Then how many times do you hear people say, you shouldn't use AI, it steals other people's writing? Okay, so are you saying those people's writing is horrible? Because I mean, if AI is stealing it and AI writing is horrible, I mean, AI was trained on stuff. Yes, it was trained on stuff in the public works, public domain. Trained on like internet blogs, things like that. So yeah, it's trained on things that people previously wrote that got published that were successful. It's just changing with the times and what people actually like now. But I always find that funny how people contradict like that. It's stealing your work and AI writing is horrible. Okay. All right, so that is pretty much it for my editing workflow. Obviously, once I would get some feedback from the betas, change anything up as needed there. So what are your concerns with editing? Or Miss Lynn, Mana, Stacy, anybody else? Do y'all have any tips y'all want to throw out there for people on editing?
This isn't necessarily my tip, but it's my editor's tip. She edits for her second pass on my stuff. She starts at the end and does, say, the epilogue, and then she does, say, chapter 36 and then chapter 35, and it prevents her from getting pulled into the story and kind of, getting lost in the flow of things.
That's interesting. What do you mean my 5-step process? Going back to the Scrivener steps? Is that what you mean? Yep. So first it's just, again, copying, pasting as I generate a chapter. First round is going through. If I don't like it, it generally stays unhighlighted. And then I start highlighting things I need to change in some kind of way. So it might be, yellow. Okay, this is really good. I need to bring this into whenever I'm ready to write. Needs a lot of work, but I want to keep it, or, something else. You don't even have to use different colors if you're using Scrivener. But that just helps me focus a little bit so I can see how bad that chapter is depending on what kind of colors are there. So first step is deciding what's worth keeping, what needs to be getting rid of. Needs to get rid of this highlight that will not go away. There we go. All right, so that's the first step. So by the time I'm done with this, I will have little paragraphs, little sections that are not highlighted. I just immediately cut those out, stick them over here and paste them into this deleted scenes folder, get them out of the way. Then going into the next round, I'm going to have the versions, if I have more than one version of that same chapter or scene, I will have them side by side and start mixing and matching into combining them into one document, all the little parts that I like. And so again, after this round, there might still be some things that get left out that just didn't fit into the scene. Those will go into the deleted scenes. So by the end of the second, I should have everything in one document now. But it's still not perfect because I just pieced together different versions. So the third round is me reading it, going through, smoothing things out, adding my own words in, rewriting things, adding transition scenes, all of that. Typically, it'll go back into Sudowrite for some refinement with the laser tools. After that, the next one is a complete read through, just focusing on reading the story and seeing where all it's lacking. Again, making whatever changes needed. And then going into AutoCrit.
How often do you find you end up going back into your deleted scenes?
I have not had the courage actually to go in there, but I am happy to know that they are there. Because yeah, there's a lot in that delete. I think I closed it out. There is a lot here, and just haven't had the courage to go in there. So as of now, 0. Do you ever use a program like Speechify? I don't, but Manon does. There you go. I think Miss Lynn likes to listen to it read to her too. It's a great
Yes, I
way
do.
to, oops, sorry. So
Oh,
it's
go ahead.
it's a great way to catch something. You know, especially after, 4 rounds of edits, I'm liable to just kind of glance over something. But hearing it being read to you, even I know people will do it as multitasking. As a matter of fact, I think Manon and Miss Lynn both do this. You could be doing housework, listening to it, but your brain will immediately kick in when something doesn't sound right. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to sit down and actually listen to this. You don't really have to. You can go about your business, do other things. But whenever they're speaking it, your brain is going to catch on something and you can review that. So that's a good one.
If I may throw in, Word also will do it.
I just
And
have to say somebody else had mentioned a couple of other programs were offering the speech stuff.
and the other thing I was going to say is if you have access to an AI, like voice generator for audiobooks and stuff, you can upload it there and have it read in whatever voice is, the narrator of the story.
And don't forget too, we have amazing plugins in Sudowrite for editing. So you can always look for this. I know I expected red pen to be farther up here. So there's the red pen that Claire made. Highly recommend. I was so looking forward to using this, but she likes to use the Claude 3s and they don't like my type of writing. But highly recommend checking these out with a red pen for your editing. I know Miss Lynn has a developmental editor as well. So check out the plugins. I want to say I saw didn't somebody make a beta reader? So if you don't have beta readers yet, okay, so this one's Opus, so keep in mind that may trigger too. Haiku I found is a lot more forgiving. Like this. So check out those plugins for some additional help as well. Any programs anybody specifically likes for editing? or for reviewing your work?
I would like to say that if you follow my system of putting in square brackets all the time, the very last thing, the last edit pass should be searching for those square brackets and making sure you've resolved everything that's in there.
Can you elaborate on that for people who haven't seen you do that before?
I can. I use square brackets in headers for the beats, but I also use square brackets in my manuscript in case I have something that I need to expand on or I want to reword it. Any note for me in the manuscript's enclosed in square brackets because I don't use square brackets in the prose. So, you know, I didn't do it. I had a friend who did it, who submitted to her editor and it had square brackets. Sex scene goes here. That's the kind of thing you can put, but you really need to make sure that you clean all that stuff up before you send it to another editor. And you always should have different eyes on your work because you need to edit it yourself, but then you can't do a final edit yourself because you know what's there. And you see what's supposed to be there instead of what it really is there. Yeah, that's exactly how I do it. Except I usually just put BW for better word.
No, look, if I'm in editing stage, my brain is fried and I'll be like, what in the world? What? And my mind will be coming up with all kinds of, did I mean what? Yeah, so you can use Claude and OpenAI. Now they can both handle your full manuscript. So it's okay to upload your manuscript and get some feedback there. It'll typically give you an overview. However, they do a lot better with chapter by chapter. So you might want to drop your manuscript in its entirety, get that feedback, and then drop a chapter at a time and focus on whatever you need it to do. And I will say it works better if you just have one or two things you're focusing on. Don't try to tell it to cover all of the things you need to cover with your editing or improvements, all of that at once. It can do better little task at a time. Issue with that is if you're like me, you write dark, spicy content, doesn't really want to help you as much. So I don't even mess with that there, but it is very helpful to a lot of people. All right, do we have any other questions on anything? Sorry if y'all were expecting more. Is it the editing process for me? I hate editing with a passion, y'all. So that's why I break it down into little steps. I can focus on a task at a time versus trying to improve everything all at once. So I'll go through, take a little bit at a time. Of course, you got editors out there you can find. We have the beta readers, your alpha readers if you use those. Am I missing anything else for somebody check? I don't think that's it. I think that's it for checking out your book afterwards.
I would say that if you're going to engage a professional editor, you may not want to mention that you used AI to write the book. Now, there may be some out there who are AI friendly, and that's fine. But I'm just saying a lot of them are going to have a built-in resistance to it. Not even so much that they don't believe in AI or any of that stuff, but they don't want to get a reputation with it with the authors they work with who hate AI. It's just still a polarizing thing. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to hire a pro.
We have CM's. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said that on the recording. Might have to edit that. I'm gonna have to talk to her before we upload this one. We do have a person in the Pseudowrite Discord that is a professional editor. She has no
Yeah.
problem with AI. So y'all can ask in the Discord for that. And she will, I'm sure, reach out. Actually, we have two that I can think of. Christine is another one. And those two are the ones that come to mind. They are actually professional editors. So you can always reach out in Discord. I don't recommend just going straight to a DM with them. Maybe ask in the general or the writer's lounge, hey, are there any editors here? Keep in mind, they are paid editors. They're not people who are just going to look at your stuff for free. There are some you can find on like Fiverr or Upwork. Make sure you read the reviews for them. That's all I can think of. All right. Since there doesn't seem to be any questions, y'all can hang around, but I am going to go ahead and stop the recording. So thank y'all for hanging out with me all week. Tune in this afternoon if y'all want for Tabby and me kicking off our second round of AI and the author. And again, at the end of July, we will be doing another Write With Me session. And hopefully I take things in a little bit of a different direction so we can have more fun with plotting the story and looking at all the ways you can make some improvements right here in Sudowrite. Bye, everyone.